At 50, I hit rock bottom. I was overweight, I was exhausted, and I was just done with everything and everyone. But that moment, that pain, that became the driving force for change. It forced me to rebuild. I remember the moment clearly, waking up and not recognizing the man that was staring back at me in the mirror. This was at a time 5 years ago. We all know what was going on in the world 5 years ago. COVID was running rampant. There were shutdowns. There was, you were stuck in your house. You were just stuck. You felt stuck, and with no end in sight. I was in a relationship that was collapsing, and ultimately it did. It ended after 5 years, and I didn't know up from down, didn't know front from back, side by side. And again, it was an interesting stage in my life because at 50, I thought, well, I'm overweight, I'm set in my ways, relationship just ended, I'm pathetic, but this is who I am. I had lost the business that I owned. Things shut down, and it basically destroyed the company that I owned at the time. Had to go back into corporate, which in hindsight, I needed it at the time. It was a saving grace at the time because I needed that income, but ultimately it was horrible. One thing about being an entrepreneur is once you're an entrepreneur, once you taste a little bit of that, and knowing that you're the boss and you're the last line of defense and you're in charge of everything, and then to go from that to answering to someone, them telling you when to work, when to stop, what to do, what not to do, how much you're going to get paid, how little you're going to get paid, where to go. It wasn't for me. Business ownership was always something that I'd been an entrepreneur my whole life, and so even that had ended. So 50 felt very, very lonely. And on top of it all, I thought I was going to be alone. I thought for sure that I was going to be alone for the rest of my life. The relationship, like I said, had ended. And I just thought, okay, I'm going to focus on work, and then I'm going to try to build or rebuild my company or another company or two. Just focus on that. I'm just going to focus on that. But it wasn't working. I was a mess. I was a mess of a human. I wasn't eating healthy. I was not exercising. I don't want to say I was depressed. I don't know if I have that I shouldn't say I don't have the ability to be depressed. I think everybody does a little bit, but I generally, flow on the positive side of life, and I never allow myself to get too low despite everything that I've been through in my life. So, but I was in a dark place for sure. I remember being very lonely. I had been married before that relationship for 25 years, in a relationship for 5 years, didn't know what it was like to be alone. I got married when I was 20. I was actually 19 when I asked her to marry. I got married when I was 20, so very young, and stayed married for 25 years, and ultimately separated and got a divorce, and then was in another relationship for 5 more years that ended in a disaster as well. And then again, just everything sort of fell apart, and especially with what was going on in the world at the time. And again, I remember looking in the mirror and just thinking, that's not me. That's not who I am. And, what it took was I realized that nobody was coming to save me. And once I realized that no one was coming to save me, that it was on me, that's when things started to change. I got back to the gym. I started exercising again. I started, eating clean again, drinking more water, taking care of myself. And just that alone gave me more confidence, gave me more focus, gave me more, wherewithal to get through the day without, having to beat my head on the wall because of loneliness or no direction. And I've always been I think most men need something to strive for. And I just felt like I was in neutral. I felt like I was just coasting, and I needed something to achieve. I needed something to go after. But I knew instinctively that, when it came to relationships and love and that kind of a thing, that, going after it wasn't, I'm not a guy that parties. I'm not a guy that drinks. I don't go to clubs. I don't do those kinds of things. And again, that was in my head too. Like, where am I going to find somebody? And because I do love sharing my life with someone. I do love sharing my experiences with people and with loved ones. And not having someone to share those experiences with was, it was hard on me. It was definitely hard on me. So, but what I did find was when I stopped, really looking, when I was focusing more on me, I ultimately found the woman of my dreams. And that's a video for another day, because that's an incredible story. But let's just say that, because I started to take care of myself again, because I started to exercise and just care about me, that energy went out there. It went out to the universe. I'm not a mystical guy, but it went out to the universe. And I think because of that, things started to happen for me. Things started to happen in my life. Things started to happen on the business side of things, in my work, in relationships and things like that. Things started to, I started to see the light. And I guess part of the message in this video is that it's never too late to restart. And that's kind of the premise of this whole channel, is that whether you're 35, 45, 55 or older, it's never too late to start again. It's never too late to rebuild. It's never too late to become the version of you that you've always wanted to be. And that's what I really started to focus on was, what's the best version of Jason? Like who is the best version? Like I want that person to come out. And again, slowly but surely, and again, with the help of my new wife, that the best version of me did show up. And, it turned out that COVID became a blessing, because my current wife and I had to spend a lot of time connecting and getting to know each other, because we had no other option. We couldn't do anything except be stuck in a house together. So again, video for another day. I'll come back to that one at some point, because it is a great story. But for today, I just want to focus on the fact that we are all going to go through struggles. We're all going to hit our version of rock bottom. And if you've lived long enough, you've probably known people, or people, or maybe it's even you, where you've had the opportunity to rebuild. You've had the opportunity to become a better version of yourself. And I want you to think back on that and remember, what were the circumstances? Who were you hanging around with? I'm a big proponent of, that saying about the 5 people that you spend the most time with is basically who you become. Who were you when you were at your very best? Where were you? Who were you hanging out with? What were you doing on a daily basis? I think as we age, a lot of people say, well, we're getting older and that's why this. We're getting older, that's why that's broken. That's why that doesn't work. And I don't think it's that. I think it's really that we just stop doing the things that were successful in the past. And I think it's because, we just get tired. There's more responsibilities and there's more things. But as I mentioned in the last video, we have to take care of ourselves first. You have to take care of yourself, and it starts with your body, starts physically. Once you start taking care of yourself physically and you start to get that feedback loop where you go and you do some exercise and then you feel sore for a bit, but then it feels so rewarding, and then you go back and you do it again, and then you start to see some progress, you start to see things change in your body, and you start to feel things change in your mind. That just is it's a rocket launcher for success in all aspects of your life. And I say this all the time. You improve your health, everything in your life changes. If you take care of your health, if you take care of your fitness and the exercise, and take care of the nutrition, take care of the water, you start taking care of your health, everything in your life gets better. Trust me when I tell you, it's absolutely true. And that's what I focused on. I focused on me. I focused on getting better for me, so that I could be then a better person for my future spouse, for my kids, for my grandchildren someday, and that kind of thing. And I want to reemphasize that. It's never too late. I don't care where you are right now. Maybe you're struggling right now. Maybe you're having a hard time. And I have to say that if you are struggling, find good people who are going to lift you up. Find good people who are going to shine the good in you, bring out the good in you. Don't hang around with people that bring you down. Don't hang around with people that make you more depressed. Don't hang around with people that make you become something you're not. Be around people that are going to lift you up. Find somebody that's going to set that fire and put that gasoline on the good. Like focus on becoming the best version of you. And if you surround yourself with those good people and watch things like this video, watch good things and listen to good things that lift you up, because I'm here to tell you, it is never too late. You can be the best version of you. I'm living proof of that right now. Because in my life, and again, we're going to get into this as we go through these videos, but I've had a lot of heartache and hardships, and just in the stretch of a year, my brother died in a motorcycle accident. I lost my first baby. She died in my arms after living only an hour and a half, 2 hours, and my best friend committed suicide on the way to the hospital to give birth to that baby. It was a nightmare, and I was 22 years old when all this happened. And things happen in life, and maybe you've had some things happen in your life too, and we all go through those things. It's the one thing I can say that we all as humans are connected by, and that's at some point, if you live long enough, you're going to go through some pain. You're going to go through some heartache and some suffering, and it's how you handle those times that make you the man, the person that you truly want to be. It's not... You grow through what you go through. That's really what it is. Are you going to grow through what you go through, or are you going to let it, destroy you? And that's what this channel, again, is all about. It's about helping you to grow through what you go through. So when you hit your rock bottom, or what you think your rock bottom is, because here's the one thing. Life isn't all unicorns and lollipops. We know this. And as we get a little bit older, maybe we become jaded sometimes. But as we go through those things, and we build strength by going through them and feeling those feelings. Don't bury those feelings with alcohol and drugs and things like that. Allow yourself to feel those feelings. It makes you stronger. And, as we go through those things, remember, it's never, ever too late. You can be a better version of you. You can be a better father. You can be a better husband. You can be a better business owner. You can be the best you possible if you just make these steps and start today and really want it, because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take some discipline. Anyone says that this doesn't take discipline is lying to you. Anyone that says it doesn't take hard work to change, who you currently are in the current, they're lying to you. It takes some work. It takes some focus. It takes some discipline. That's what I made this channel for, is to help people like you to get through to the other end, to grow through what you go through instead of letting it bring you down and basically kill your soul. But what it took was consistency. I kept showing up for me. I kept eating healthy. I kept drinking the water. I forgave. And I moved on, and I became a stronger and a better person. And once I let go, I was able to rebuild from the ground up. If you're in that dark place right now, I want you to know it's not too late. Rock bottom isn't the end. It's where the real work begins. So if this hit home, make sure you subscribe and join the movement. Join our community. Master your body, master your mind, master your life. I'll see you in the next one.